In this video, I will try to showcase that the emerging trend of polygamy, whereby males are encouraged to live like sultans and have personal harems, thereby leaving the old tradition of monogamy, not only contributes to the disintegration of Western civilization, but also serves the ongoing economic trend that the financial elite imposes on a society. In other words, Redpill community, who is supposed to fight the matrix, actually serves it, consciously or unconsciously. The first thing that I want to make clear before getting to the issue of monogamy or polygamy is that the Red Pill community exclusively identifies as pro-male. That is, their community is centered around the concept of self-improvement and helping the disenfranchised males of the modern society to ascend the social ladder. The way they are doing it is by informing males about the nature of the sexual market. Namely, that females are by nature hypergamous, meaning that they always try to date up and get men who occupy the higher echelons of the social hierarchy. On the other hand, males search for females who are young, attractive, and less pretentious, so that they can serve as a wife material. So they basically introduce the traditional idea of the conflict of the sexes, whereby those two sexes, males and females, have somewhat opposing and conflicting desires. One is polygamous, whereby he wants to get as much women as possible, whereas females, on the other hand, are searching for one but very trustworthy, rich, and sustainable male. But apart from this somewhat scientifically accurate / pro-science understanding of sexual market, Red Pill community also adds a cultural aspect to it. The cultural aspect here is that basically Red Pill community claims that the modern Western society is culturally corrupt, and most of the females are very materialistic and they are basically gold diggers. They will leave you and dump you if they find a better opportunity. So basically their understanding of the sexual market is purely mathematical. Hence, males should be always suspicious of the opposite sex and they shouldn't put too much trust in women. Hence, the best strategy that modern males can pursue, according to Red Pill community, is to resist the matrix that forces them to be simps and slaves. Now, this is achieved by becoming resourceful and then building a personal harem, whereby you are satisfying your polygamous needs as you are a male, but all while keeping yourself safe from females who would potentially dump you if you were not, that resourceful and, assertive. Now, apart from the sexual market, if you want to be safe on the internet, you should definitely check out the best offer in the market, provided by Atlas VPN. By clicking on the link below or scanning the QR code, you can enjoy the most affordable online protection for just $0.83 per month, plus 3 months extra with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Consider that with a single subscription, you can protect as many devices as you can. So it's like you get one subscription and all your devices are protected. With Atlas VPN, you can buy total freedom with complete security. You can access your favorite content irrespective of where you come from. So, if you are like me, coming from a third world country, and you are barred from accessing, your favorite TV shows or something else, then you can just change your digital address and that's it. The whole world is at your disposal. You can basically watch anything you want. Also, you can have the best deals while shopping online, and you can also enjoy private Google searches without tracking your activity. But you should also consider that Atlas VPN is not just a VPN, as it also offers a protection from ads, malwares, and trackers, notifying you when someone is trying to steal your data. So Atlas VPN, apart from providing the best and most affordable deal, also offers you the best immune system that will protect you from the internet malware. Now, surely Red Pill community is not just about the sexual market, but rather it has a political aspect to it. Namely, that Red Pill community is exclusively anti-establishment and anti-leftist. By matrix then, basically they mean the financial elite who officiate leftist politics on society. Now, the purpose of this video is not to give you a cultural slash philosophical account of the Redpill community, but rather to showcase that what they call matrix doesn't actually contradict their desires, namely to build a polygamous society, or to narrow it down, polygynous society, where you are going to have males who are resourceful and who are going to have personal harems. And as we are going to see, the financial trend that is being officiated by the current economic elite, is actually in agreement with what they are proposing. A paper by Satoshi Kanazawa proposes that polygyny is best predicted by two factors. First, the resource inequality amongst males and the increased power of females to freely choose amongst males. A computer simulation run by scientists showed that if females are programmed to choose males based on their resources, whereby resource inequality is high, polygyny would be a natural result. Since for a regular female, it is better to be a second or a third wife of a successful male rather than being an exclusive wife of someone who is in the middle of the financial hierarchy. So basically, the thesis of this paper is that the best predictor of polygynous societies is where middle class doesn't exist. In other words, where resource inequality is at its maximum. The best known index that measures resource inequality in countries is the Gini coefficient, where 0 is total equality and 1 is total inequality. Now, in the computer simulation that this paper proposes, there are 4 alternatives that are broken down by the variable of how many men can females meet up with before they make a decision about who to marry. All 4 of them show a direct connection between the increase in the Gini index, that is financial inequality, and polygyny. In other words, such conditions are female-centered, as polygyny emerges out of a female choice, whereby if they are motivated by purely financial interest, they will consistently choose to be second, third, or fourth wives of rich men, as opposed to being monogamous. Further, as the mating opportunity increases, the more pronounced the difference between the starting and the ending point becomes. In the fourth case, where the mating opportunity is 25, that is, females can meet 25 males before choosing who to marry, the polygyny index begins at nearly 0, where society is completely equal, but when the Gini index increases to 1, that is complete inequality, polygyny soars from 0.1 up to 0.9, whereby we get a direct relationship between polygyny and resource inequality. Now, this paper also provides the fifth case, where we do not see an increase in polygyny, namely that females do not choose to become fourth or third wives of the rich men, irrespective of the fact that, for example, the Gini coefficient rises and hence the resource inequality rises too. The reason being is that because in the fifth case, females aren't programmed to find males based on the financial interests. Hence, in the system, which is based on the Redpill community understanding of sexual market, we get a situation where polygyny is inevitable, considering that resource inequality is the rule in a particular society. So a system where resource inequality is high, it inevitably favors females and harms males, as most of them are left without partners. So basically, it is a throwback into a pre-civilizational mode of being, whereby small strata of dominant males have complete access to the majority of women. I guess there's a reason why I frequently hear the examples of gorillas or other primates, coming from, Redpill activists. As if human society, which built, high civilizations, should take an example from, our cousins and distant ancestors about how to run our sexual market. However, the problem with such an outlook is that it contradicts everything that the high cultures have built, namely the shift from fast life strategy, whereby quantity is the goal, to a slow life strategy, where quality becomes the ultimate. In slow life strategy, which evolved in harsh environments, males have to protect their females and invest in their children. Hence, most of the times, cross-culturally, monogamy predicts high parental investment. Now, this study then analyzed real societies based on the Gini coefficient and the prevailing cultural norms with regard to sexual strategies. The results showed that the resource inequality, that is the high Gini index, predicts polygyny. Conversely, if a society tends to be equal in its resource availability, then monogamy prevails. So there is a direct relationship between resource inequality predicting polygyny and resource equality predicting monogamy. Now, this model doesn't involve an evolutionary theory of why monogamy or polygamy evolved. Rather, it basically tries to establish a relationship between the financial state of a particular society and the sexual strategy that it will then cause by extension. And this is consistent with an anthropological evidence that most of the time pre-societal tribes where resource inequality is high, polygyny prevails. Now, what does it have to do with the matrix or the financial elite, and why does it stand in agreement with the so-called matrix? Well, let's first look at the people who are most of the time, regarded as the, members of the matrix. First, according to the principle of Pareto distribution, most of the time the majority of resources fall in the hands of a minority, whereby a small number of population accounts for most of the financial resources. Now, the causes that predetermine such a state whereby small minority has the access to the majority of resources is diverse. It ranges from initial privilege, access to network, family ties, talent, genetic predisposition to have some work ethic, and so on and so forth. So basically, if a small minority of men have a better start than the majority, by simple snowball effect, they will have an advantage to accumulate the most resources, as they have access to types of business opportunities that the majority of people are simply left out from. However, the current trend that plagues Canada and the United States, whereby the grocery prices and whatnot soars, and middle class is frustrated that basically they cannot afford normal living anymore, and all those ideas that are proposed by the guys at Davos, whereby you won't own anything and middle class basically is going to disappear, and we're going to have people who are just going to be servant and who are going to work in services, and we're going to have small strata of extreme billionaires, all of those things. This is basically the future that these people propose, namely an extreme resource inequality. Now, as we have seen, what Redpill community proposes, namely the polygynous lifestyle, is best predicted by resource inequality, that which is promoted by the so-called matrix. So you should be alert when thinking that this new quasi-Islamic idea of polygyny and their red pill understanding of sexual market is somehow contradicting the prevailing financial elite or the matrix or whatever. Now let's get back to the red pill community, which has adopted this pseudo-Marxist sentiment of helping disaffected men, whereby men in general are their target group as opposed to the elite, rich and already successful males. Now, the first aspect that I want to point out is that this trend of the red pill community and the financial trend of weeding out the middle class, whereby you won't own anything, nicely maps onto the fourth alternative that the paper provides, whereby the female opportunity rise to 25 males. In the internet epoch, which expands our reach to a whole globe, females are free to choose and examine as many males as they possibly can. Further, the amount of men who are wealthy constitutes a very small amount of general population. Hence the emergence of this new alpha male trend of, these millionaire males who boast having personal harems. So this model nicely illustrates two trends that are active in a current society, namely the trend of the internet that increases the female choice, namely their power to, select males based on how they stand in a social hierarchy, and the financial trend officiated by the elite, namely whereby resource inequality is going to rise and middle class will be erased from a society. Now the question remains, in what sense is the red pill community a pro-male movement? 99% of men, by definition, won't end up in the small minority of wealthy men. How on earth preaching polygyny and discouraging men from monogamous relationships will help the majority of males escape the current crisis of the sexual market? Not to mention that women do not get spawned on Earth like Minecraft zombies, so there are not too many of them for everyone to afford personal harems. So, for the concluding remark, you always need to be suspicious of quickly offered solutions that are presented as rebellious or against the prevailing norm. Hence, rich men having multiple women has nothing to do with helping disaffected men in general. It is just another social tendency that contributes to the bestialization of Western civilization. Do not forget to check out the referral link that I provided in the description so that you can get the best offer in the town. Also, you can scan the QR code.